Hey everyone, it's Kathleen. In today's video, I'm going to share with you a craft project I've been working on, a recent thrift haul, as well as a family favorite recipe for Christmas cookies. A lot of you often put in the comments asking for different recipes, what we're serving up for our Thanksgiving feast or whenever we do a tablescape. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to share with you one of our all-time absolute favorite Christmas cookies. And they're called Pecan Puffs. So I have some video of me making them, but it's too early to make cookies. So what I did was to make the cookie dough and put it in the freezer to get a jump on the holidays. But I am going to share with you this very, very favorite family recipe. So let's get started. Hi everyone, it's Kathleen. I'm just going to start with a quick share of a project I've been working on. The idea was to create some Jadeite ornaments. Paula has collected beautiful Jadeite from the thrift stores, and many of you have commented on it, trying to collect it piece by piece. This is a bit of a hack, but I found these very inexpensive plastic Christmas ball decorations at the dollar store. And I looked for textured ones. So I took off the little cap and I painted it this spring green color. And it really does resemble Jadeite when it's all finished. So I wanted to share with you in case you were inspired to make some of your own Jadeite ornaments. I did use a little rub and buff on the holder part to make it gold. I thought it looked better than the silver. But they really look great. I just need to add a little bit of a ribbon. I'm thinking a red and white checked ribbon might be very, very cute. But overall, I'm pleased with how they look. They have very much a Jadeite feel. So much so that I seem to be painting everything in this color. And one of the projects I will be doing is for my teacher friends at school. I'm going to be making some sugared pecans. And I found some jars at the dollar store that had silver tops, sort of sealed tops on them. And I am going to be painting them. Here's one that I just finished, that same Jadeite green. And because they're my teacher friends, I'm going to attach this little mini chalkboard to label them the sugared pecans. So I just wanted to share with that before we get to the thrift haul. If you can find that paint, it really is a great look-alike for Jadeite. Hey everyone, I promised you a haul in this video, so let's get to it. So this is a incredibly random thrift haul, but it sort of has a theme that somewhat ties it together, and that's holidays. It's just that they're not necessarily the holidays that are upon us, although there are a few Christmas items in here. So I'm going to start with the non-Christmas items that I picked up, and sometimes after a holiday, there are a few leftover things in the thrift stores that you can get sometimes discounted. And that was the case where this votive candle holder. So you can see it's these two witches, and I put just a little tea light in there, and it looks like they are, brewing, making their brew. Very simple metal candle holder, and I absolutely loved it. I paid $1.99 at the Goodwill, and I have a few things that I really love for Halloween, and mostly my crows, but this was something that I just couldn't pass up. I love the silhouette of those two witches standing over their kettle of brew, whatever that is that they're brewing. So that was a Halloween find. I also got a couple of Easter-ish things. There was this adorable little rabbit, stuffed bunny, and it had a tag. It's Boyd's Bears, which I don't know if that's much about that company, but I loved the little hand-knitted sweater on it. It's not a very big one. I don't know. It was just too cute for $1.99 to pass up. It's obviously a quality stuffed bear. And there was something about the tiny knitted little sweater that I had to have it. Let's see. Also on the Easter end of things was this large paper-mache tray. And I'm saying Easter because it has a rabbit. It does say hand painted in Thailand on the back. There, it's kind of one of those things just so weird that you couldn't help but love it. And that's what happened. I had it in my cart. I think I texted a picture to Paula and Patty. I was like, I don't know. It's super cool. I've never seen one, but I don't really need it. But then it ended up coming home with me. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun to put out at Easter time. So those were the holiday items that really had nothing to do with the holiday season that is upon us. A couple of other things that I did pick up at the Goodwill. I tend to collect these little sort of metal sculptures for my son. I've gotten him 2 golf ones. I think I probably showed them on a video at some point. Paula sent up one that was musicians. It was like a drummer. Like kind of sometimes they're made out of just metal, wire. Sometimes there's nuts and bolts. And he is a tennis player, and this happens to be a person playing tennis. It was part of a musical box that went around, but it was kind of broken. And as it spun around, the tennis racket would hit the tennis ball. But I had my husband sort of disassemble it and then just glue the tennis ball onto the racket. And that's going to go in his Christmas stocking. He's probably going to say, oh my gosh, another metal sculpture. But I'm sorry, it was just too cool. And where would you buy that? And why else, or where else would you find one like that other than a thrift store? I also got something that's going in my daughter's, it's too big for a stocking, but she is 30 and she grew up with Harry Potter. And so she loves all things Harry Potter, all things magical, including cauldrons. And so at the little thrift store by my school, I found a set of these 6 like metal or cast iron, I don't know, I think cast iron metal cauldrons with lids, and they're not very big. I mean, they're maybe 3 inches tall and maybe 4 or 5 inches across. I have no idea what they're for, but I thought she also likes to entertain, and she Mexico has a special place in her heart. So, maybe doing a taco themed, you could put the fixings in here, the cheese in one, the sour cream in another, and just kind of spread them out. But very cool. And there were 6 of them for $6, so $1 a piece. So I did get the bunch of 6. And this thrift store is cute. It's like part of a church building, but they also have a garage, and where they put usually some of the bigger items. These happened to be outside and it was freezing and I could barely hold on to them. I could only bring in one. I was like, I'm going to take all 6, but I can only carry in one because they were absolutely frozen. So there's some sort of metal, but very cool. And for a kid who is into Harry Potter and cauldrons, they were perfect. So that was that. And last but not least, in terms of sort of holiday, I did pick up these really pretty cloth napkins. These are much more probably toward the spring and summer side, but they were not stained. They're high quality cotton, and just a really pretty color with those blues and greens. And I think they were $2 for the set of 4. So I always like to pick up cloth napkins because they do get stained, and I'm not very good about getting stains out. Patty's excellent at that. She's the master in our family. I'm not good at it. So for $2, I'd rather have some extra ones on hand that are not stained. Probably they will become that stained at some point in time, but in the meantime, they're good to go. So now we're sort of onto the holiday items, the upcoming holidays, the Christmas items that I was able to pick up. Recently, Patty thrifted a couple of adorable Christmas ornaments, and I know Paula's shared some. It's a really fun place to get Christmas ornaments, the thrift stores, because you just don't know what you're going to find. I picked up, and again, these were probably all 50 cents, this little Nordic or, Scandinavian looking skier, wooden skis and ski poles and the little wooden bead face. Just adorable, and I like that look. I like that Scandinavian, very simple look. And so that was a good one for 50 cents. On that same sort of vein was this little wooden Christmas tree with the candy canes. We used to have some of these when we were little, and again, it's very, very Scandinavian in its simplicity, and I really do like that. And then these are vintage, and it is a Raggedy Ann and Raggedy Andy ornament. And they're a little raggedy, actually. If you look up close, her face is a little dirty, but they are old. And let's see, it says made in Hong Kong. They're vintage. But even the little hands, I mean, it's got the detail, the little hands. And we all my sisters and I had Raggedy Ann dolls, and I think my brother had Raggedy Andy. So it was so fun to see these. And I love a good vintage ornament because they don't make them like that anymore. And it's so fun to put them on the tree. So those were the ornaments that I picked up. And again, you can get them for literally 50 cents. And they're just so unique. And I don't know that anybody else is going to have these same ornaments, which is kind of cool. I also picked up some tags. These I have a brother that lives in Alaska, and these little gift tags were kind of cool, and they just reminded me of him, and I always send out a package. And so I thought, for $1.29, I'll use one of these cool tags, and maybe even include some other ones, because they have strings they could hang from a tree. They're kind of cardboard. They could be a paper ornament as well. So that was kind of fun. So the other, we also have another brother, and I like to do something sort of a gag gift for him. And so when I saw this, and it was brand new, it was not opened, I thought, okay, I think it was $1. I'm going to buy this, and it's ridiculous, but it's a toilet hunting game. Play while you sit. So it's got the bullseye and the little gun and the darts and the target and even a do not disturb sign. So if you do one of those we call them Yankee swaps, where you can either get a really good gift or sometimes you get the gag gift. The thrift store is the best place to get your gag gift. And like I said, this was brand new. It's not open. All the pieces are there. So this one will be a gag gift this Christmas. Some people might think this is a gag gift. I thought it was very, very cool. It is this vintage reindeer on this base. I stuck a candle in it. I'm going to use it as a candle holder, but I did a little research on it, and actually it held some sort of liquor, and that was a stopper. There was like a stopper in where I put the candle. And so you could get, for the holidays, I guess you could get a special liquor put into this interesting bottle. It says a product of Italy. I can't really read it. The label is a little bit torn off. But on the bottom, it does say produced and hand painted in Italy. So it's kind of kitschy, but it's one of those, it has that it just was so nostalgic for me, like that deer. There's something about that look that is sort of takes you back to a simpler time. And just so funny. And I'm going to put a candle on it. It'd be perfect on a mantle. I don't know where I'm going to put it, but I think it might have been $10, and I got it for $5 on the half price day of a sale. But It's one of those things that I tend to collect, kind of kitschy, vintage looking things. I also was able to pick up, this is really nice, and I'm going to use this somewhere outside, this wreath, but it's kind of modern farmhousey. It's got the wire parts to it, and then, you know, the pine cones and it's fake greenery, but it looks nice, and berries. So it's sort of like a half wreath. And I thought that might look nice. I think I'm going to hang it out on our porch. Not on the door, but just on the side of the house on the porch. It'll look nice with the clapboards behind it. And it definitely has that sort of modern farmhouse feel to it. So that was a really good find. Sometimes you can get some really nice greenery at the thrift store. Paula just did a video where she showed a lot of beautiful vessels containing already made bouquets, or, you know, a bunch of greenery, and they looked really nice. And, you know, sometimes you hate the vase. You don't have to keep the vase if you like the greenery, or vice versa. It comes in a really nice vase, but you're not so keen on the greens. But I really liked this, and I liked the round metal sort of double hoop for that. And the last item that I got is this really beautiful vintage tablecloth. And it is, I think Patty had mentioned to us that she's going to be using reds and blacks in her upcoming holiday decor. She's kind of using that color scheme. And when I saw this, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. And so it's a rectangle, very vintage tablecloth. It was $4 at that little store by my school. And I'll insert a picture of it spread out. I can't quite hold it up. As you can see, I've got my arm in a sling. I'm healing a little bit of a biking accident, but we're getting there. Yeah, so this was just so pretty, and it brought back, again, it's that nostalgic feel to it. I think probably one of our grandmothers had a tablecloth very, very similar. Sometimes you just see something and you are immediately transported back to that time, and you just can't leave it there. And that's what happened to me during these thrift adventures. I just saw something and I was like, I probably don't need it, you know, but I'm sorry, it just took me back to a really cool place, and it's fun to have. And if anything, I can hand it on down to my own kids. So that is the thrift haul portion of this video. So we're going to make our cookie dough for pecan puffs, which I'm going to put then in the freezer. The original recipe calls for 1 stick of butter. I am doubling the recipe, so I used 2. And since I'm doubling the recipe, I also added, instead of 2 tablespoons of sugar, 4. And you mix that in the mixer and get it all blended and, you know, sort of a whipped consistency. What I don't show in this video is when you're actually making the cookies, you roll them into small balls and cook them in a low oven. I believe it's 300 degrees for about 40 to 45 minutes. And then when they come out hot, you roll them in some confectioner or powdered sugar, let them cool, and then you re-roll them, giving them sort of a snowball effect. Some people call them snowball cookies or Mexican wedding cookies. This is an old recipe, and it's labeled Pecan Puffs, so that's what we call them. So here the butter is just whipping up, and then you're going to add some vanilla. And in a single recipe, it is 1 teaspoon. I doubled it, and so I added 2. I'm actually making a variety of cookie dough and freezing it because when my mom comes up to Vermont for the holidays, we always enjoy pulling it out and sort of spending a full morning or day in the kitchen baking the Christmas cookies. And so it's really nice to have the dough already made. And since you can see, I'm recovering from a little bike incident. It's a perfect thing to do because I can't do much else. So I might as well get all of this dough ready and in the freezer. Then you add 2 cups of flour. Again, this is doubled. I have a new scale, so I use the weight in grams as opposed to cups. And I always have to look that up. I'm not sure what that is. There are no eggs in this recipe. It is literally the 4 ingredients: butter, sugar, vanilla, and the flour. Oh, and then of course the pecans. And so before adding the pecans to the mix, I ran them through the food processor to get them small, really small kind of crumbles, as opposed I bought them chopped, but I needed them even smaller. So I just ran them through the food processor. And you need, in the original recipe, 1 cup of those. Again, I doubled, so I put in 2 cups, which looks like a lot of pecans, and it really is. And that's a heaping 2 cups worth. Like I said, these are one of our absolute favorite cookies, and they are particularly good with a cup of tea or even in the morning as part of your breakfast. Not the healthiest breakfast, but so, so good with a hot cup of coffee. So you mix it all up, and then I did, as I said, roll it in, put it in a ball, wrapped it up in plastic, and put it in a freezer-safe Ziploc bag. And I will keep it in the freezer until my mom gets up here so that we can bake these cookies together. There's the dough ready for the freezer. And at last, I'm going to include the actual original recipe for Pecan Puffs. This is my mom's recipe, and you can see it is well loved. We use it absolutely every single year, and only at Christmas, which sometimes makes me wonder why, because they are so, so good. They would be good at any time of the year, but extra special at Christmas.
Welcome to Relatively Refines, where we share our viewers' thrifted treasures. Today's treasure comes from our viewer Mary, who lives in upstate New York. This picture shows several of her latest thrift finds. Mary shops with a list in hand of the items that she'd like to own. She says it takes a lot of patience to collect things this way, but it is oh so worth the effort. Mary says that she loves to clean up her items almost as much as she loves finding them, because when she gives them that kind of attention, they become hers. Of all the items in this picture, that banker's lamp is her favorite, and I have to say, it is beautiful. I've never seen one like it, but your other items are equally gorgeous. Thank you so much, Mary, for sharing these treasures with us. If you would like us to feature one of your thrifted treasures, simply send a picture and a brief description in an email to the address on the screen, and we will be happy to include it in an upcoming video. All right, everyone, that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.